I'm not sure how many of you all are aware of this because the mainstream media and the powers that be have been working overtime to cover this story up. But a couple of weeks ago in Brooklyn, something really crazy happened. Something that you only see in movies. Secret tunnels were discovered underneath a Jewish synagogue. The police had to get sent in to shut these tunnels down because these tunnels were causing structural damage that could cause buildings to collapse. And Lord knows what these people were doing in their tunnels. They've come up with 10 different excuses. They blame it on teenagers. They blamed it on Mexicans, their words, not mine. They've blamed it on the lockdowns. We were using these tunnels during lockdowns. And then they said, we were building these tunnels to expand our synagogue. They came out with all types of excuses. But the videos coming out of this situation were wild. People pulling dirty mattress after dirty mattress after dirty mattress out of the tunnels. Dirty kids' high chairs left, scattered around the tunnels and around the basements. A really creepy situation, and I think that anyone that doesn't have a personal bias would look at this and say that it's creepy. That most likely, if you're building secret illegal tunnels underground, it's because you're doing something secret and illegal in those tunnels, right? If not, then what's the need for tunnels? Well, there was a lot of pushback to anyone who covered this story. I was labeled anti-Semitic. I was told that I hated Jewish people. I was called a conspiracy theorist. I was called every name under the book. Simply because I looked at the videos of Jewish men literally popping out of the sewer, popping out of manholes in the ground, and I said, hey, that's weird. I think those guys may be up to something. Well, that caused a lot of people to be enraged. Because you see, in today's day and age, there are groups of people who you can't criticize, who you can't question, who you can't say anything about, but that's not how we operate on this channel. I treat everyone equally. And when it comes to equality, it's not just the good stuff that comes with equality. If everyone is created equal, everyone is, capable of being criticized. Everyone is capable of doing something wrong, evil, what have you. So I was looking into these Jewish tunnels for a little while, found out a lot of weird stuff. But of course, they came in and they filled these tunnels with concrete before anyone could conduct a thorough investigation, before anyone could go into the tunnels themselves and see what happened. Now, I warned you all that it was only a matter of time before more tunnels get exposed or before buildings in this area start collapsing, because we have residents in this area that are reporting that, hey, I'm not crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but I think I hear Jewish people underneath my floorboards. You got people living in this area who were hearing things like, why does it sound like there are freaking Fraggle Rock? It sounds like Fraggle Rock miners are below my house. Why does it sound like Jewish people are having parties under my house? Well, it's because they're down there doing Lord knows what. Well, I warned you that it was only a matter of time before you see a building collapse or something worse even happen. And guess what? Yesterday, a building mysteriously collapses in Brooklyn. It mysteriously collapses right in the middle of another community, a community of the same people, let's just say that. Now, of course, everyone's going to make excuses. Of course, everyone wants this story to go away. But I have a good memory. Unlike the majority of Americans, I can remember what happened 2 weeks ago. So when I see a building collapse today, I'm automatically going to connect it to the tunnels that y'all were just talking about a couple of weeks ago that were causing structural damage to various buildings in Brooklyn. They had to evacuate multiple buildings already because of these tunnels. Now, to be clear, we don't know for sure right now if this building collapsed because of tunnels, but there's something really shady going on here as well, and I want to go ahead and dive right into it. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Construction worker killed as home built illegally collapses in NYC. A worker died when a two-story house that was being illegally built collapsed in Brooklyn on Friday, fire and city officials said. I want to go ahead and pause right there. I'm sorry. But how do you illegally build a building in New York City? This is not like the random desert in Texas and Nevada. This is not in the middle of nowhere. This is smack dab in the middle of Brooklyn. And people are getting away with building illegal buildings. Oh, I'm just going to build a home right here in Brooklyn. Who cares what anyone says? How was this even allowed in the first place? You would think that when you're driving by, you say, oh, who the hell is that building a whole house right here in this lot that they don't own? You know what I mean? But this is the type of wild stuff that's going on in this area of Brooklyn where these certain people live. There's always, from what I've heard and from my research, there's always something weird and crazy going on over here. First, we got the tunnels. They were digging illegal tunnels. Now they're building illegal homes and someone's dead. But let's go further. The 33-year-old construction worker was found unresponsive when first responders arrived at 166 50th Street near 13th Avenue in Borough Park just after noon. The man had been working on the home when the first floor of the dwelling suddenly gave way, pinning him under the debris in the basement. The floor collapse was in a V-shaped. The middle of the floor collapsed and came down on top of the victim, FDNY assistant chief says. The worker whose identity is being withheld pending family notification was pronounced dead at the scene. But here's the real kicker, folks. So all of these news outlets, right? The mainstream media, they're reporting that this was a illegally built home that collapsed, right? They keep calling it a home. They keep calling it a house. Well, guess what it was? Guess what it really was? Let's go forward. Workers at the site said that they had been hired not to construct a home, but to construct a front-framing Jewish synagogue. The construction, however, was being carried out in violation of a stop work order that was slapped on the site on January 4th following an earlier complaint, Department of Buildings Commissioner James Odo says. This fatality should not have happened. They should not have been doing this work, let alone having a bobcat inside the structure, Odo told reporters. There could have been multiple fines at this location, so the amount may end up in the six figures. No other injuries were reported. Footage showing throngs of first responders and onlookers, including a number of Hasidic Jewish men flooding the street outside the construction site in the wake of the tragedy. Investigators are working to determine what led to the collapse. So you see how it goes from, oh, an illegally built home collapsed in Brooklyn to suddenly, oh, wait, it was an illegally built Jewish synagogue right here in Brooklyn. And you want to know what's crazy? Those Jewish tunnels that we were looking at a couple of weeks ago, they're right there in Brooklyn as well. So what has this community got going on? And to be clear, if these were regular white people, if these were black people, Chinese people, Native Americans, I don't care what group of people these were or what religion they were, I would be questioning this. You got illegal tunnels. Now you got illegally built synagogues crashing down and killing people, but no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to address the elephant in the room, right? They're even going as far as they're literally saying, oh, a home collapsed, but once you read the fine print, you realize it's not a home. I'm looking at news articles that say illegally built home collapses in Brooklyn, and then you read the news article and you find out that it's not a home at all, it's a synagogue. So why are they keeping the illegally built synagogue out of the headline and they keep calling it an illegally built home? No, it's a synagogue. And I can guarantee you that some of the same people who are behind this illegally built synagogue are behind the illegally dug tunnels. But no one wants to connect the two. No one wants to connect any dots. And we can't criticize these people for what's going on, or we're considered hateful people. But I don't care about that. I will criticize because the tunnels should have been enough. But because nothing was really done about the tunnels, nothing's really going to be done about that. These people are out in Brooklyn thinking they can do whatever they want to do. And they're putting other people's lives and their own lives at risk in the process. And what is this all really for? Before we know it, there's going to be illegally built synagogues all over Brooklyn that no one can say anything about. There's going to be illegally dug tunnels leading to all of these synagogues. And who knows what in the hell these people are going to be doing underground or in their illegally built buildings. I don't think anyone else would get away with something like this. How do you drive by and say, what? This guy's building a whole entire 2-story illegal building in the middle of Brooklyn? In the middle of Brooklyn, that's what makes it even crazier. Because it's not like you have time to construct this before anyone's aware of what's happening. It's not like you're working behind the scenes and no one can see you. No, the streets are flooded all day in Brooklyn, okay? There's people passing by, cops passing by. This particular group of Hasidic Jews, I guess that's what they call themselves. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. They have portions of the police force that specifically only work with them and only watch them and only handle whatever crazy problems they have going on. And from what I hear, like I said earlier, it's always something. It's always something. But here we are, just a couple of weeks after these tunnels were discovered, and now we have an entire illegal synagogue that was discovered. And it's not like it was just discovered. They watched and saw them building this illegal synagogue the entire time, and people only stepped in once it collapsed and killed someone. And I find that very sad. And I want to know what happens next. If they're building illegal synagogues out in the open, what are they doing behind closed doors? We already know they got the tunnels. What else is going on? And why is there nothing being done about it? Everyone's afraid to be judged or to be called this or labeled that. But, you could be saving lives or saving your community by nipping this problem in the bud. But for now, we're just going to have to sit back and wait for them to do something else crazy. And, once I call that out, people will get mad at me again. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via CashApp. You could also donate via Super Thanks or for free. You can help the channel by liking, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.